Welcome back, crafty friends. It's Alicia of the Call Me Crafty Al YouTube channel, and I am back with another Sweet Treats collaboration video. If you have not seen any of the past videos, I will link those in the description box below, and I also have a playlist, so I will pop that in the upper right corner now. I hope that you'll go check those out, and make sure too to visit all of the other collaborators to see what they have done each month. For March, our theme was kitchen, so that means we have to create a paper craft that has some kind of sweet treat and that has something to do with the theme, so kitchen. Well, when I think of sweet treat and kitchen, I think of baking. So what I thought I would do is create a recipe card for one of my favorite recipes that I like to bake for a little treat. And I have made it a little Memorydex card, so if you had like a rolodex of recipes, this would fit right in there. The recipe that I'm sharing on my card is for apple brownies, and this was from an old Martha Stewart living. It was from October 2012. So I just recreated the recipe using PowerPoint, and I printed the ingredients and the directions out onto just regular white printer paper and use that for my card. So it is double-sided. And here in just a little bit, I'm going to show you how I put it together, and you'll kind of see my process as far as why I put things places and the tools I used. This was created using the Farmer's Market paper pad. It was a hot buy pad at Michael's in November of 2017. And I just love all the little food stuff, and there was some baking tags, so I thought that would be great for a recipe card. If you would like to know how I created my card and the thought process that went into it, I hope that you'll stick around for the entire video, because I am going to share that process here in just a little bit. But before I go, I just want to remind you that all of the collaborators are linked below, so I hope that you'll go see what they created for the kitchen theme. Give them a thumbs up, leave them some love in the comments, and I hope you'll do the same thing for me here. If you're new to my channel and you're interested in subscribing, I hope you'll do that. If you're a regular subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for stopping back by. Let's go ahead and get to the process. Before I get started with the process, I thought I would share with you some of the tools and products that I will be using in today's video. First of all, for the tools, I got out my Heidi Swap Memorydex punch. I have the Stampin Up Scalloped Edge punch. I might round the corners of the top, so I got out my We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile Corner Chomper. I pre-designed and printed my recipe cards, and these are about 4.5 inches wide by around 3 inches tall. I have the ingredients on one piece and the directions on the other. This will be a double-sided recipe card. For my pattern papers today, I'm going to be using pieces from the Farmer's Market collection from Michael's. This was one of their November hot buy pads, I believe, and I'll show you the pages that I used. So there was a wood grain, a polka dot, I used some cut aparts from this sheet, and then an apple pattern paper. Now, when I start the card process, I will tell you all of the sizes of the stuff I punched here. Let's go ahead and get started. To make the video a little shorter, I did go ahead and pre-cut a lot of my pieces. I will be doing some punching and maybe a little bit of cutting in the video, but mostly that's all done. So I'll tell you the sizes that I have here. This is a wood grain paper, and since it is only single-sided, I want to fold it over so that wood grain pattern is on both sides. So I cut this to 5 inches wide by 9 inches tall. My apple pattern paper, again, it is 5 inches wide, and I cut these to 2 inches tall, and there are 2 of them. And then the polka dots, they are 5 inches wide by 1 inch tall. I also used a couple of my punches, and I have another one of these somewhere, so I will find it. But I have, this is the Stampin Up 2-inch scallop circle punch. I punched 2 of those out of an off-white cardstock. And then I used a punch that fit right in there to cut 2 circles from the wood grain paper. It was just the scrap I had left over from this. And then I went ahead and fussy cut my apple baskets from the paper that I told you I had cut apart from. And here is my missing wood grain circle. The first thing I'm going to do to get this ready is just fold this piece of paper in half. I will leave the folded side at the top, and then I'm just going to glue these shut. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom because I'm going to be using the Memorydex punch down here, and I don't want it to gum up my punch. These 2 apple pattern papers will just get adhered to the very bottom. Now, before I get this any thicker, I am going to go ahead and make my punch, and then when I put on the other apple side, I can align it with this. So now I have the base of the recipe card ready to go. Let's go ahead and put the rest together. With these little strips, I'm going to be using the Stampin' Up Scallop Border Punch to just put a decorative edge on this. I just made these to just cover up where the apple paper and the wood grain paper meet. I thought this was just a little bit more interesting. And you know, I think what I'm going to do is get out another piece of paper, maybe try to find something to match this red that I can just mat the recipe part with. I think that's going to add a little something and help that stand out. I'm going to cut a strip to 4 3/4 inches wide. I go ahead and adhere these pieces to each end of the cardstock. And I did just print the recipe on paper, so this will give the paper some sturdiness too. I'm going to bring my trimmer back in, and I'm just going to be eyeballing that final cut. Alright, now that I have the red on there, I think it covers up too much of the wood grain. I'm going to make those borders just a little bit smaller. Before I adhere my recipe to the Rolodex card, I am going to work on my little circles. What I want to do with these is just have them kind of up in the corner, and it will kind of be like a tab as you flip through. You know, you might recognize, oh look, that tab's my apple brownies. So I'm going to adhere one of those down so I can match the other one up with it. I'm going to push those together real nice and tight, and then each of my circles will get adhered in the center of those. And now I'm going to put some adhesive on my apple baskets, and I was going to run it through my little Xyron, but I discovered that They were just slightly too big. So I'm going to go ahead and snip off the stems and leaves because I know they're not going to stay on anyway when I have to use my ATG. I'm just going to place that right in that circle. Do the same on the other side. And now it's time to adhere my recipe, and I want the ingredients to be on the front. And the directions to be on the back. And there is the finished recipe card for the apple brownies. I will give some close-up pictures here in just a minute. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you're having a crafty day. Bye-bye.